Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. You're all extremely welcome to the Ultimate Web Design Program. You'll find out in the recording tomorrow why I'm laughing. And you're all extremely welcome to Lesson 3, the Mobile First Design. So this is going to be the theory session where we're going to go into, where we're just going to talk about Mobile First Design, what it is, how to get into the mindset, and everything like that. So just before we start, I just want to quickly make sure that the audio is coming out loud and clear on my recording studio thing here. So that's perfect, excellent. All right. So let's have a quick sound test. So can you hear me? If you can hear me, please type yes into your question box there. So hey there, Dirk. Hey there, Donna, Elizabeth, Christine, Shane, Charlene, Sonata, Rachel, Harry, Albertus, Raphael, Chris, Samuel. I've said there's too many people here tonight, far too many people greeting you all by name. So hello there, New Zealand. If you want to type your countries in there, I could do it that way. Sorry about that, guys. The names flew past way too quickly for me for that time. Hi there, South Africa. Hi there, Netherlands. Hello, Korea as well. Hello there, Korea. Hello there, Norway. And I'm sure I've got Ireland here. I'm sure I've got the States. Hi there, England. Very good. Well, it seems that I'm coming out loud and clear. It seems that we are broadcasting out loud and clear. So I think we're good to move ahead. So quickly, we're just going to recap 2 lessons ago, just very quickly, just so you can just really cement this in. So the cascading order. So what sits at the very top of the cascading order, guys? What sits at the very, very tippy top? There we go. Okay, I'll give you a hint now. I'm sure that the audio's carried out far enough. So the hint, it begins with U. Very good. There we go. Excellent. So at the very top of the cascading order, we have the user style sheets. And we're all very aware now that we want to leave those alone because if the user says that they want something red, we want to leave it red because they've got a reason to actually go in and do that. Alright, so what happens after our user style sheets? What falls next in the cascading order? There we go. Perfect, guys. Perfect. Everyone's on the ball today. Next one down is, of course, inline. Excellent. And that is when we have that's when we define styling by the style attribute. So we define our styling right there in the HTML tags. After inline, what is the next type of styling that is going to that's going to be there on the cascading order? Excellent, guys. Absolutely fantastic answers. Embedded. Oh, sorry, my slides isn't catching up. Embedded. You're all absolutely correct. So embedded was next. All right, and then after embedded. So embedded was wrapping it in the style tags up in the head of our document. Then after that, we've got excellent, guys. Fantastic. I'm getting just very, very few alternate answers, but there we go. You are exactly right. We have linked and imported, and Mark, we don't define the user CSS. Your user will define the user CSS. Yeah, so they define that themselves in the browser. So if they can't see, certain colors, they'll go into their browser or they'll get a web developer like me to just code their browser so they're able to navigate the internet with consideration to their site disability. So it's not up to us. All right, perfect. And then that's what's at the very bottom of the cascading order then. Excellent. Very bottom of the cascading order are those natural browser styles. And guys, I need to show you something just before we start the lesson. Have any of you guys done mobile app development yet? Mobile app. Well, the advanced one is being taught now by a very good educator called Ushin, and what Ushin showed me something today. Amazing. Warren Buffett. We all know who Warren Buffett is. Do we know who Warren Buffett is? Let me just quickly pull up an image just for anyone who doesn't. W-R-E-N, Warren Buffett. He's like the world's most famous investor. Yeah, he's the world's most famous investor. In fact, he's not an investor. If you take our investment course, you'll find out. I can't remember. Shane was telling me exactly what he is. But this guy here, yeah, he's one of the, he's just incredible businessman. This is his website, guys. Look at that. I couldn't believe it when she showed it to me. So if you're ever having trouble with any of your designs, I'm going to bookmark this now into my bookmarks. So if ever I'm having trouble with web design, or if I ever feel bad or I can't get something to work just right, I'm going to go on to Warren Buffett's website and just feel a little bit better about myself. You can take a look at that. If you Google Warren Buffett website, find the first one there, go in there and inspect elements. Yeah, it's built with tables. Yeah, and these links, they go to, a message from Warren Buffett. This is what happens when you don't add any CSS. In fact, there actually is CSS in there. It's just not being used very well. So it looks like someone might be a new client. We'll find out. All right. So sorry, I just wanted to share that with you. If you just Google Warren Buffett website, you'll be up there. You won't even get it if you Google Warren Buffett because he's got no SEO in there. So yeah. All right, guys. So this lesson is all about mobile first design. So you are going to be developing to websites to, I can't even graph it on a scale how much better your designs will be to some of the people in the Fortune 500. All right. So here we go, and that is exactly right, Heinrich. Exactly right. Exactly what we deduced. Well, he doesn't actually need a good website because if you're looking for Warren Buffett's website, you'll find it. All right. So mobile first design. So you might have remembered me talking about this thing, graceful degradation versus progressive enhancement, in the first in the introduction level. Well, let's review that. So graceful degradation. So graceful degradation arose out of this need to have a design function on as many browsers and platforms as possible, and designers and developers, when they want to take advantage of new technology without excluding users with setups that they didn't have support for. So stuff like Flash on mobile when Flash was still very prevalent. So the general conclusion in the design industry was to create and serve up the best experience possible. Yeah, so you have a desktop site, and this was at the birth of mobile phones. So you still get the best experience possible, and then you would account for each possible degradation to ensure that every device was catered for moving backwards. Yeah. And exactly right, guys. This is the Be Water My Friend. So we're gonna have a full hour on that, pretty much on the Be Water My Friend. Well, no, sorry, Be Water My Friend was responsive. We're going to mobile first. Sorry about that, Abdel Rahman. This is going to be mobile first. So what they would do is they develop the best website that they could, and then they'd look at it on a mobile and go, well, the mobile doesn't support Flash, so let's take that out. That doesn't fit on the mobile, let's take that out. That's not needed, we need to get rid of one of these things, let's throw that out. And that's just the way it was. So in terms of mobile web design, this would mean that a full standard website would scale back and gradually remove content and features as the viewport became smaller and the system became simpler. So that's the Flash example, when in the early days of phones, when they just couldn't really handle stuff like that. Now, out of this arose a powerful new idea called progressive enhancement. Oh, there we go. So in this version, you design for the mobile platform first. So you provide the users with the minimum screen. Like you think about your website, if you have the smallest screen, the worst processing power, and things that just don't work very well. And then you build your site from that and you scale it up. Okay? So you can enhance things. But then as you get bigger, well, then you can enhance things as things get bigger. So this was a different design approach. Yeah? So are you all with me so far? Yes, very good, very good. Okay, so it's not like that we had to throw out all these amazing features. We just always consider the mobile phone first. Because if we put in an amazing feature on our desktop site, yeah, and then scale it down to a mobile, so say we had a forum, yeah, so we built our forum, and our forum was looking amazing, and everything was working great. And then you wanted to scale that down to a mobile device, but then you realized that the technology that you use to build that forum just doesn't really work on mobile. So now you have to build another separate platform for the mobile forum to work. So you're not going to put that much time and effort. You've already wasted a lot of your funds. So you're going to end up with a very, a subpar forum to just go into the mobile screen. Whereas if you thought of a mobile first approach, you would have been developing the forum from the ground with the best forum that a mobile phone could possibly have. And that means that when you get up to the desktop, the forum works, it's consistent, and it might even have just a few more features. So it's a flip on the head of how we think about how we're going to design our website for absolutely everything. All right. So I've got a quick question for you. Which is harder to design for, desktop or mobile? What do you think is going to be harder to design for? A desktop screen or a mobile screen? Ah, so we're getting some mixed results. Some mixed results here today. Well, I can tell you guys, it will actually be harder to design for mobile. A mobile first approach is actually a harder one to do, but it saves you a lot of headaches in the long run. Right, so why would we pick the hardest route? Well, because we think of the long game. So let us just go through some of the benefits of mobile, and then I'll give you just a few examples. And then what we're actually going to do is we are going to break into CodePen on this lesson, and we're going to just take a look at some practical examples as well. So the benefits of mobile first. You get better SEO. So right off the bat, it's better SEO. You've got one site that fits to every screen. It's going to be perfect on mobile. Your bounce rate is going to go down because you've designed for mobile first, and just everything is working. Because it's a mobile, you get a bump on the search results anyway because you're a mobile ready site. All of that will improve your SEO. Your mobile styles, with a mobile first approach, your mobile styles will actually be loaded first, yeah? So rather than designing to the desktop and sectioning off things and giving it widths and heights and everything, you allow the document to just flow as is. So your mobile styles will be loaded first. It doesn't have to go through all the CSS and trial stuff and add stuff in. It will have to add in CSS for the desktop, which means that the desktop, you're naturally on, you're going to have some kind of Wi-Fi, you're going to have better internet, the desktop is going to be sitting there, and it's going to have more processing power to read that text file. So of course, loading up the mobile styles will actually make your website load that little bit faster when you're doing a mobile first approach. So progressive enhancement will actually just naturally increase your load time overall, and that's just throwing away needless content that you realize you don't need. That's optimizing your images because you're thinking from a mobile first point as well. So even if you load up a big stunning image on your desktop and you go, that loads fine, but you can still get the same quality image, and you might have stopped trying to optimize it just that little bit too soon, and then you realize it takes that just a good full second to load up on a mobile, and it just doesn't work. So you have to go back to the drawing board, and you're just kind of, you're cutting twice. You're just going back and reworking everything you've already done. Now, the great thing about mobile first, UX and UI. So it forces you to focus on crucial content, which will enhance both the user experience and the user interface. Because not only are you really forced to think with such a small screen and such a limited kind of range of features available to you, how is the user going to navigate your site? A lot more thought has to go into that. You can't just have a big menu bar. If you've got 10 links or 10 pages you want to show to people straight away, you can't do that on a mobile because you haven't got enough screen to do it. Excuse me. If you have 2 images, in fact, that's going to be my next one. So let me show you this. Content priority. So say this is a very, very simple concept for a page. Yeah. So a very simple concept. I've got the site title. I've then got a big nav bar. And then right above the folds, the minute someone comes to the site, what was I talking about with the client? Well, they're going to want to see the site title, yeah? Title of the site. They're going to see nav bar with all the links to the other pages. And then they've got their most important product and the company logo side by side. They go, that's perfect. That's what I want the user to see when they first come to the site. But now, when we get down to a mobile, and then you go, that's fine. That's all perfect. But now, when we get down to a mobile screen, we discover only one of those images are going to be able to go first, because and we could try to fit them side by side, but then readability goes out. So now we have to ask the question, which one is more important? Is it the image of the product or the image of the logo? Which one is going to appeal more to our users? Which is going to convince them more to scroll down? So now we're thinking about how important the content is. Content that used to be equal is now all of a sudden has to be ranked. And then look at our nav bar. Even our nav links are going to have to start being ranked. Because what if the store was the very last link on the previous nav bar? What if your store was all the way over here? Well, that means that when they get to the mobile device and they click the nav bar and expands, the store is going to be all the way down here, depending on how many links you have. So it's really forcing you to think about every step of your site to really optimize it and really kind of prioritize how everything's going to work. Another great thing about mobile first design, and we're actually going to go through a demo of this. So CSS optimization. Here is just a small snippet of CSS, all right? A small snippet of CSS. So we all remember our photo gallery. So what I wanted was, I wanted 6 images on the screen, I had the site title, and I had 6 images. So I was designing for a desktop first. So what did I do? Well, I want to set each image and have a width of 30%, and that's going to fit 3 images per line. All right, so that's 3 images per line. And then, when I scale this down to a mobile, well, then I add in a media query. Yeah, so so on my desktop, I've still got the CSS up there, images width 30%, and then on the media screen, so when the max width is 400 pixels, I want the images to have a width of 100%. So there's the CSS code for this finished CSS snippet for this bit. But what if I did it to a mobile first approach? How would my CSS look then? Well, if I went from a mobile first, well, I wouldn't really have to touch the images. I'd already have my responsive images with their max width of 100%, so they're already taking up the full width of the screen. There's no need to target them in using CSS, yeah? And then what happens when I scale up to a mobile? Then I add my media query, and instead of saying max width, I'm saying minimum width. So when the screen is a minimum of 400 pixels, well, then I want the images to be 30%. So I'm just after cutting out at least 3 lines of CSS out of my code, and that's just from that really simple snippet. Let's see a bigger example. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a quick page. So I'm just going to go to my UI drawer here. What is this place here? So uidraw.com. There we go. This is actually a fun application here, uidraw.com. So let's take a look. Alright, so sketchy, I'll take a trail and a random color. Perfect. Alright, so let's see, what will I do? Oh yes, it's free. It's just an online drawer. This is where I go to just do a little bit of quick sketching, just so I know what I'm about to make. So let's do this. Here's my website. Alright, how will I do this then? On the top I will have a logo. And then I will have a menu bar. And then I will have a block here of text. See, for someone like me, it's actually quite difficult to remember to actually step into mobile first design, simply because I've been around since the start of the internet. So for the majority of the internet, I remember desktops. So everything I remember about web pages, everything I was introduced to about web pages, they appeared on a big landscape wide screen. All right. So there's my simple wireframe. So let's go ahead and code this up in CodePen. So codepen.io. Alright, so let's code this up and we'll use our new tags as well. So we're going to start with a header. So what we're actually going to do, sorry, I should really explain what's going to happen here, is what I'm going to do is I'm going to code this up because as a desktop first, just kind of as it will become natural. So I'm going to code this up and then we're going to approach it from a mobile first point of view and see how much CSS we can actually get rid of. All right, and even start thinking about this yourself. So right there you've got the desktop view and that's the way you'd see it, yeah? So now try to imagine right off the bat what that would look on a mobile. So let's try and figure this out. So HEADER /HEADER. Let me zoom in so you can see this a little better. There you go. Can you read my text? Oh, too close. 150%, is that good? Yep, good. Header. So, heading 1, hello world. Perfect. There's my heading 1. Alright, right underneath the header, I'm going to put my nav. And then underneath there, I'm going to have a section. SECTION. That section should always have a heading. Articles. My articles. Let's close that off with a heading 1 there. All right, let's close off that section before I forget about it. SECTION. There we go. All right, inside that section, I'm going to have 2 articles, ARTICLE tab. There we go. That's going to be much faster. We'll call this heading 2, ARTICLE article 1. And then we'll put another article just beneath it. Call that article 2. There we go. So far you see how I'm doing this. I'm just marking up, just nesting my elements, just imagining how I want this page to fan out. And the last one down is going to be my footer, F-O-T-E-R. Alright, and let's just put nav in here just so we can see it, N-A-V. Perfect. So nav. Alright, so that is my document there. So now I want to style this up to make it look just like this. So I forgot about my logo at the top, so let's just add that in as well. So my logo at the top can just be a div. Alright, so just pretend that's a logo. So now let's start styling this up. So the first thing I want to do is I want to give my yes. So heading 1 with these new semantic tags, your browser can handle the default. Sean says, notice how your heading 1 tag in section doesn't actually affect the size of the font. So you'll notice here, my articles, heading 1, yeah. See my heading 1, see how close it is to that size there. In fact, they could even be the same size. Let me just confirm. I'm sorry guys, I'm slowly losing my voice, but I'll maintain for as long as I can. Let me just grab this out here. So there's my articles. Let's take a quick look at how this is handling that. So there's my heading 1. So 1.5 EM, how much is my heading 2? 1.5 EM. So because my section has to have a heading 1, yeah? So because my article has to have a heading 1, there we go. Because my section has to have a heading 1. So if you remember the flowchart, my flowchart of how HTML elements work or how to figure out the best one to use, well, does it make sense to have a heading? If you have a section, it should have a heading. And this was the whole conundrum of, are you allowed now with HTML5 allowed to have more than one heading 1 per document? Because in HTML4, because we didn't have semantic tags, because we didn't have all these semantic kind of sectioning tags, well, we weren't allowed to use more than one heading 1. It would break the flow of the page when a search engine read it. But now we're allowed to have more than one heading 1 when they put inside sections, yeah? Because heading 1 is the main heading for a given section. SEO, you see, that's changing, Mariska. But SEO, just one heading per page, that is changing. The reason why that is changing, in fact, if we can bring that up again, if you want to bring that up again, just after I've done this, all right, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. I'll bring up a great article on how the flow of the page is explained. All right, so please do bring that up because I would like to touch back on that because it is important for SEO. Okay, so here we go. So I've got my div at the top. So let me first target my div and just turn it into a kind of a logo thing. So I'm going to give it a width of 400 pixels. Imagine it's an image and a height of 400 pixels. And then because it's going to be a responsive image, it's going to have a max width, MAX-WIDTH, of 100%. There we go. And we'll give it a background. There we go. So there is my header image. It's a bit too large. Let's drop that down to 200 pixels and 200 pixels. There we go. That's much better. All right, so there's my logo. Next one down is I want to style my header, H-E-A-D-E-R. My header is going to be, my header is actually part of that there. Let me grab that. Whoops. In fact, we'll just get rid of the header altogether. I didn't have the header in there, sorry. So there's my box up there. Next one down is my nav bar, NAV. The nav is going to have a width of 100%. It's going to be text, align, center. There we go. And we'll give that a background as well. B-A-C-K-G-R-O-U-N-D. Background is going to be hash RGB, which is 55F. Mute blue. There we go. All right, underneath the nav, we've got 2 articles. So I'm going to target each article. So first of all, I can target my section. I don't think I need to target, but I'll target the articles though. A-R-T-I-C-L-E. Each article is going to have a width of 50%. and we'll give that a, let me see, a width of 50%. It's going to be BACKGROUND, background of hash RGB, which is 5F5. Nice me to green. There we have that. And we will display, oh, there's something I'm forgetting here. Let's quickly just remove all our browser default stuff up here as well, because it's going to mess with my math later. So body margin, margin is going to be 0. PADDING is going to be 0. There we go. Put those over there. Perfect. Excellent. So now I can target everything. And then what I'm going to actually, sorry guys, I'm going forward and back here. So imagine this is actually what a real development can be like when you're moving forward and back, adding things in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a wrapper. CLASS is equal to wrapper, WRAPPER. There we go. WRAPPER. And we will target the wrapper down here, WRAPPER, and it's going to have a width, going to have a margin of 0. Give it a 1% margin top and bottom, and we will give it, what will we give it? We'll give it a, we'll give it about 5% on left and right. Yeah, that's about good. Perfect. All right, so the next one down. So I've got my article, I've got my background there. We've got a width of 50%. And let's just display that. Oh, what's going on here? Sorry guys, I'm after losing something here. Is the wrapper in a div? Exactly right guys, exactly right. Thank you for that. IMAGE. There we go. All sorted. Perfect. Thank you very much. I see some people there targeting that I had wrapped, that I was targeting my div down here, so it was targeting the whole page because that is also a div. So perfect. All right, so I've got my articles. Let's DISPLAY display INLINE block. Is that going to work for me? Inline block. There we go. Let's float these left. FLOAT left. Is that going to allow them to flow up? There we go. So they're now side by side. I will give them margin, MARGIN, of 1%. Bring that down to 48. Might have to bring it down. Yep, there we go, 48. All right, so there we have it. My articles, I'll also target my section. SECTION. Section, BACKGROUND. Background is going to be RGB, which would be FF5. SECTION, BACKGROUND. There we go. Perfect. Now, all right, and then we'll also grab our footer down here. So FOOTER footer is going to have a width of 100%, and it's going to have a BACKGROUND, a background of, I'm running out of colors, RGB, so let's just go with F5, nope, 5F5. There we go. Perfect. Except for the fact that my footer is being wrapped around my articles. Crazy. I'm sorry guys, could someone see what I've done wrong? Oh, we'll leave the logo in the center for a second. Why would my footer be wrapped around my article? Sorry guys, there's something a little strange going on here. Let me just move that into a separate window. Let's grab that over here. I've got an opening, I've got a closing, I've got an opening, FOOTER, I've got a closing, FOOTER, I've got a closing div, but that closes that one. I've got that div there, let's see. Yep, so I can close that div there, that's not going anywhere. That nav is there, that section is there, that footer is there. That is very strange, very strange. Sorry guys, just very quickly sort this out before we go any further, otherwise it won't work. So let me just see what's going on here. Why is the footer taking up the articles, and why isn't my section? Very strange guys, very strange stuff going on here. Anyway, We'll pursue on. Let me first save this. Ah. Sorry guys, I'm not logged into CodePen. This computer isn't logged into CodePen. Very quickly. New pen. Copy all that CS. Copy all that HTML. Control Tab. Put login. Yep, log me in. There we go. Put that in there. Grab all of that. Control C. And throw that into there. There we go. So now we've got something that's kind of working. And margin box, where's my image? It's going to be margin MARGIN 0 auto. There we go. So now we got something that's kind of looking like that. It's happening on your site too. I kept my footer outside of my div instead. Yeah, all right. Well, let's go with that. Thank you for that solution there, Leanne. It's still very strange. No, what are you doing to me, computer? Footer width is 100%. Yeah, of course. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at my chat box. I don't think I'm giving out to any of you guys out there. Float left. There's my problem. Found you. Now I don't know why, but let's just get rid of you. Okay, and come on. 48, 47. There we go. We're in, guys. Sorry about that. That was infuriating. Okay, we're back. So there's a lot of CSS to get this to work. Just a good bit of CSS to get this to work. So now let's do this from a mobile. So now let's see what happens when I start resizing this page. So now we're starting to hit a problem. With those articles. So article 1 and article 2 and footer are going to give us a problem. So what are we going to have to do next? Well, next up, what we would normally do is we get this screen down to maybe there, and we'd add a media query, yeah? So we'd start to add a media query. So very quickly, let's add a media query, because the whole point of this part here is to see how much space we can actually save with CSS. So at media, at media, where am I at? I'm at max 500. At media, SCREEN. And max width, width, is going to be 500 pixels. Then we want to add in some media queries. So I want to target my articles is the problem. ARTICLES, articles, article, ARTICLE. Article is going to have a width, width, of 100%. There we go. So now they're going to have a width of 100%. What else am I going to have to do? I'm also going to have to take away... Is there anything else I did there? I didn't do enough. Ah, well. All right. I think that's enough. Okay, so we're at 41 anyway. We're at 41 lines of CSS. Even with something so simple, let's see how many lines we can take away. And in fact, the challenge for this lesson is go back to your... I'll tell you about the challenge afterwards, actually. So there we go. So we have the minimum width there. Now, what happens if we were to do this to a mobile first approach? Control C. So in a mobile first results, I want to say max width, min width. Min width is going to be 500 pixels. Well, then I'm going to add my article, ARTICLE. Am I even going to save anything? I'm not sure. Let's delete that. Put you down here. Is that all I've saved? All right, guys. Sorry. I shouldn't have done this off the top of my head. We've saved one line of CSS. Okay, so we've saved one line of CSS. Not fantastic. Not the best example. What I was going to say, I was hoping to save a lot more lines there. MOBILE first, FIRST. I was hoping to save a lot of lines there, but it turns out I didn't. But the challenge for this lesson, guys, is actually to go back to your Phoenix photo gallery. Yeah? So the challenge for this lesson is I want you guys to go back to your Phoenix photo gallery, review that project. I want you to update it for HTML version 5. So you're going to update your tags for HTML version 5, so we don't just need divs anymore. So just make it a little bit more modern. And then take a look at your CSS and adjust your CSS so it fits to a mobile first design point. All right? The Phoenix Photo Gallery. So you can grab that from lesson 1. In fact, we'll send you, can I send you this one? I can send you this one. Alright, this one's actually got the header tags in it. Just make sure that this is, yeah, so this is desktop first design. Let me just throw this out there into your chat box. So you'll also find in my CodePen, guys, so codepen.io/show web design, and you'll find it there on my page, on my profile. You'll find it's one of the things in the showcase there. Any of the projects that we do from the introduction, you'll find Phoenix Photo Gallery. So I want you to, so what would be great is for you guys to go onto there and then adjust your media queries so that you're designing from a mobile first. So what you would do is you would go down here, design it so that all of these work like that, and then scale up. Yeah? So that's what your challenge is for today. So, some questions about the flow of the document. How H1 is handled in HTML5. And let me see if I can find this article for you. It should appear red if I find it. In fact, even better question, can I have more than one H1 HTML5 SEO? Is it going to appear for me? Alright, I'm just going to start clicking wildly. Nope. Was it you, Treehouse? I don't think it was Treehouse. Anyway, we're going to find this article now, which basically explains to. So the way that that a SEO would actually read a heading one on the page is that they first go through the document, and the first heading one, so this one here, heading 1 Phoenix Photo Gallery. Where am I trying to get to? I'm trying to get to my Notepad++ because I'm on a Windows computer. Notepad++. My word, my internet is very slow. There we go, a little bit better. Alright, so let us try this. So what we would normally have is we would have the title of the page, which is the heading 1, yeah? And then underneath that, it would have a section, say the div section. And then inside the div section, you'd have other items again. So you'd have the div, and then you'd have another div with other sections. Then inside that div, you might have a heading 3, which itself would also fall on the line of a div. So that's the way the website would read it. Now, if you had more than one heading 1 per page, what would happen is that would all be sectioned off, and the next time it hit heading 1, it would appear outside the page. Yeah? So we'll go heading 1, everything up to that point was one document, and then it starts again. So it breaks the flow of the document, and the search engines start messing up everything on its way down. Now there's an actual really nice graphical there's a really nice graphical representation of one of these in one of these articles, which I'm going to find. But now with HTML5, because section is meant to handle heading 1, well then the search engines and the browsers are adapting for that. Yeah. So now, because of these semantic tags, because we don't just have div anymore, because div didn't mean anything, it was just a division. But now, here we go. This is the one I wanted. Now, where is this going to show me? I just want that one image that explains this very nicely for me. This is the article anyway, guys. I'm going to stick this in our design group because this is absolutely perfect. Very quickly. There we go. Versus so there you go, guys. So that's the way it would work. So if we take a look up here, the proper use of peanuts. So this was HTML4. You can see up here in the doc type up here. This is a HTML4. This is a document written for HTML4. You can see there's no actual, there's none of the new semantic tags like header or nav or anything like that. But if we look here, div heading 1, the proper use of peanuts. Yeah, the proper use of peanuts. So this would generate a document with this kind of outline. Where the document, so number 1, the document is called the proper use of peanuts. And then heading 2, how to eat peanuts. Heading 3, superior peanut eating methods. Because heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, they define titles. Yeah. So it's not the size of the title or how you want the title to appear. It's It's not the size of the title or how you want the title to appear. It's the importance of the title. So heading 1 is the title of the document. Yeah. So this is the way this would be read. And then we get down to this div. So you can see they section off this into kind of sections. Yeah? So that would have been a section, and that would have been a section in heading 5. But you can see here that they start another section, and because this is a whole independent section there on boiling beans, so that could make sense just by itself, well then they add another heading 1. But you can see here the way the document is generated, that this is document, the proper use of peanuts, and the next one down is heading 1, the proper use of peanuts, as if they're both separate. Now with the HTML5, so once we change this up into HTML5, we get something much, much better. Yeah? Let me just get down here. Come on. So in HTML5, if I was just, I'll just use that same example again. So with HTML5, what would happen is that would say the document, the proper use of peanuts, and then the next heading 1 is almost treated like a heading 2. Yeah, it's almost treated like a heading 2. Anyway, let me just post this article out to you just so you guys can have it. I'm just going to put it into the great students. Let me just see here. So I'm saying H1 and SEO. There you go, guys. That's all for you there in the great students group. Sarah, there actually is no one in the chat box there with us tonight to answer you. If you want to send that, send me the link to your pen, and we can take a look at it for you, and we can see what's going on there. All right. So guys, yeah. So there's loads of articles and there's loads of queries on this. So in HTML5, guys, you are allowed to have more than one heading 1 per HTML document, but it depends on how you use it. Yeah. So in HTML5, the safe bet for you is in HTML5, you're allowed to have one heading 1 that gives the title of your document, and then one heading 1 per section, but only one heading 1 per section. All right, so that's the way this is working in HTML5. If you look up any books, or if you read any books on SEO, or even if you install a Yoast plugin or something like that, that gives you an idea of what's going on, they'll always catch, oh, you're using more than one heading 1 now. But listen, Google, we can see straight away. Google understands, yeah? We can already see here that it understands that this heading 1 is sitting inside the section, so it's marking it up as so. It's not giving me the huge heading 1 that we'd see if I put it in here. Heading 1. Hello? Go away. Sorry guys, everything just seems to be breaking down on me today. There we go. Alright, so heading 1, and then let's just stick in here so you can see the clear difference. Oh. Is everyone out there still with me? Is it my internet that's going down that keeps knocking me off? You can all hear me? Yeah, perfect. Yeah, it's just asking me to log in again. If I log in again, I'm going to lose everything there. So just 2 seconds. Let me just get back up here. Yes, so heading 1, heading 2, they're related to the importance of the heading. That is exactly what they are. So heading 1 is the title of the document. Well, heading 1 used to be described as the title of the document. Yeah. So when you had a heading 1 on the page, you were only meant to have 1, and that was meant to be pretty much the title of your page. So up here, this is mobile first. Well, then the title of this page would be, you know, a mobile first page. And then right down, I could never use that heading 1 again. But nowadays in HTML5, it's becoming acceptable to use more than one heading 1 when it's used properly. So I can see that Google Chrome can handle this. I will have to do a tiny bit more research to see how Google is actually handling it with their SEO. But I'm pretty sure I'm about 90. I'd say about 95% sure, if not higher, that the Google search engine is perfectly handling more than heading 1 when you're writing in an HTML5 and you're declaring a HTML5 doc type. That's declaring your doc type at the top saying HTML. Yeah, so you shouldn't have a problem there. All right, guys, and there was one more trick that I wanted to show you. Sorry, I've run through this class rather quickly. Does anyone have any questions for me? No. So images in HTML5 would be compressed better. No, they wouldn't. The only difference between really with the there is no kind of actual crazy stuff that goes on when they update these languages. They kind of just take away tags. They kind of go up with it's more of the syntax on how we use the language rather than what the language does. Because at the end of the day, this wasn't W3C who decided that a heading 1 inside a section tag should be the same size as a heading 2. Yeah, that wasn't W3C. That's not part of the spec. That's just how Google Chrome is designed to display it. Because Google understands HTML5. One, they understand that now the huge debate on the internet: can we have more than one heading 1? Well, then they're stating their position that yes, you can have more than one heading 1, especially when it comes to a section, because a section is meant to have a title. It's meant to have its own title, and a section should be able to stand out there like that. So HTML5 does not come with anything better except for a syntax update. The optimum file size for an image, for displaying an image, would always have to be less than a megabyte. You should always be able to get your images. If they're just being displayed on the page, any image should not get more than a megabyte. You should be able to get it down to gigabytes, to KB. HTML6. I haven't taken a look at HTML6 spec. The spec that brings us freedom. Very nice. We'll take a look at this. So sorry, who's asking about that? Someone there is reading ahead into HTML version 6 with logo tags, toolbar tags, etc. I don't know yet. I haven't gone that much into it because they're still defining the specification. So I was going to give it a little while until they give me some more, until they really concrete what they're going to do. Because this is a debate, guys. This isn't just one person doing this. They actually hold proper debates on this, and then there's internal fighting all the time. I told you the story about Tim Berners-Lee not wanting the image tag to be introduced to HTML. Huge uproar back in the 90s when he didn't want a HTML tag to be introduced when he didn't want the image tag introduced into HTML. He wanted to be handled someplace else. Ooh, so take a look at these guys. Take a look at these tags here. HTML head. Ooh, that is quite odd. Well, guys, you're in for a bigger update. It looks like so far this spec is looking like for another big update. So I can't wait to see this. Why is everything preceded by HTML? All right. Yeah, so a new course in another little while. Perfect. That's no problem at all, Marina. That's no problem at all. Really, like, the big thing to take away, now that you've just got the general gist of how mobile first works, you should be able to reapproach your Phoenix photography gallery. And what you should do is you go back to your Phoenix photography gallery and you try to make that from a mobile first standpoint. So you rearrange your media queries, take a look back over how you align your images to allow the document flow to really take hold. All right. Dealing with media queries? No, media queries are just a way for us to test, dealing with our media queries, do we need to use EM instead of PX? You do not need to do anything like that, no. So a media query is just a way to test the user, test how the user is viewing your website, and then just apply tailored styling. So it really depends on what you want to do. It really depends on what you want to do. So EM is a relative size, so either you want to do it relative to the device's default sizes, or you can give it an actual specific, fixed value in the form of pixels if you like instead. Oh, so Leanne asks, what if you just want one big heading in various sizes in one page website that doesn't carry any semantic value? Very good question, Leanne. Very good question. I'll actually show you. Have we used span tags yet? I can't really think of a time when we would have really needed to use them. So we've got these inline tags. Yes, we have these tags also known as inline tags. So let me just say lorem, L-O-R-U-M-I-P-S-U-M, lorem ipsum, please. So Daniel asked, will there be a loss of resolution when we start from mobile and scale up to desktop? There shouldn't be, because you're kind of thinking, because because you're thinking all the way forward, yeah? So even with your images, so say if you're designing to a mobile first, to a mobile first standpoint, so you know that, like, well, you know that even though the mobile screen is never going to get wider than 400 pixels, is never going to be wider than 400 pixels, well, you can still, still have an idea that the image is going to have to accommodate on a screen of 1900 pixels wide, and still has to look good. But with modern compression engines, with modern ways for you to compress stuff, you just get it down to less than a megabyte, and you're pretty good. You know, we've got I think we've got 99%. We've got pretty much 100% phone coverage out here for internet here in Ireland, in our little country, and we're over 90% 4G connection now. So here in Ireland, developing locally, we're grand for doing that kind of stuff. Again, you're gonna have to do a little bit of research on what the internet speed is like for your target market. Yeah. So developing here in Ireland is actually quite handy, because you're pretty much guaranteed that any of your local users are going to have a good internet connection, and even if they're complaining, it's far better than what other people are getting. So SPAN. So sorry, I'm just going back to that previous question on how do we section off things so we can just target them as headings. So SPAN. So span is an inline tag, and as you'll see, it won't break the document flow. So where's that word there? Well, what I'll do is I'll just target my span element, SPAN, and I will make it underlined. So text, DECORATION, UNDERLINE. Where are you? Oh, sorry, I never closed off my span. There we go. Alright, so there is span. So you can see here, I've selected reader here, yeah? So I've selected this one word out of this whole document where I can style that without breaking the document flow. Okay, so that's an inline element. So you were asking, what happens if I wanted to display a bunch of headings? Well, what you can do is you can just display just normal words, wrap them in span, give the span a class, and then say whatever you want. Oh, class. Always use the classes, guys. If you want to target something in CSS, use a class. You want to save all your IDs for something like JavaScript. If you're doing anything in CSS, remember, even if you think it's going to be unique, future-proof your designs. We're always thinking about future-proofing our designs. We want them to be unique moving forward. So it's always best to use a class. All right? Because if, God forbid, you want to go back and do another one, well, then you have to go back into your HTML and you have to switch your ID for a class, whereas it wouldn't have mattered if you had used a class in the first place. So it's perfect. Alright, so there's our span. So that's just an example of how the span tag works. So it's perfect, because if I was to wrap something in div tags, we've got a problem. So I'm going to wrap this ipsum in a div, and you're going to see exactly what's going to happen straight away. Yep. So you see there, it's breaking the flow of the document. Yeah, so that's the difference between an inline tag and a block level tag. So div is a block level element, span is inline. We can't actually set the width and height of span. We shouldn't be able to anyway, WDTH, with 100 pixels. Can we set the width? Nope. So we can't set the width or height of span either, yeah? Because it's an inline element, so it shouldn't be able to be, so we can't set that. It can only be as big as its content. So span is perfect for something like this. So what we can do, SPAN, so what would you want to call this? So you give this a meaningful name so you can tar it over. So imagining if you wanted to create a few heading ones, so what would they be? They would be something like, what would you create a big notice for? They'd be notices. Notice, N-O-T-I-C-E. Yeah. So this is going to be a notice heading. And then what I would do is I would go over here and I would just target my N-O-T-I-C-E heading, H-E-A-D-I-N-G. Zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Notice heading, and then I would bump that up. I would give it a font size of maybe 1.5 EM. I would make it, and then I would just do whatever I want. Color is going to be red. And then I just continue styling. And that means that for every other heading I want, well, then I just have to wrap it in span tags and just give it another class. Yeah, so I can just be typing away, and then I've got another heading down here that I want wrapped. Well, then I just wrap it in span tags, SPAN. SPAN, CLASS is equal to NOTICE, HEADING. So I can reuse them, so it's perfect for me. And there we have it. Yep. So just like so. All right, perfect, perfect, perfect. So that's how we create, so we can use our CSS to target everything else. Or else I could be, or actually what I would make the heading of this one. So that's how something that like that would work. Yeah? So the heading of the document, most important heading, fake headings with span. Yeah, fake headings with span, and then we've got all these other things that kind of look like headings, but they haven't got any semantic weight because we're only concerned about their. Because remember, that's what we're the key word there was. It doesn't look like a heading. We want it to look like a heading. If you start talking about how you want it displayed, it's CSS. It's always CSS. If you start talking about its meaning, you know, like what is the head? What is the title of this document? That's more of a semantic question. What is the title of that article? That's a real semantic one. I want that article to look a certain way, straight into CSS. Yeah, there we go. And the span, there is no effect. Well, that will have no effect on SEO. That will have no effect on SEO. It will be taken as just a normal element. So if you're actually looking to make a notice, so if it was a notice that it was a heading, well then you could use something. Well, you've got headings 1 through 6 to work with. So you can always style, say, your heading 6 to make it big. So it could be the least important heading. It can be the least important heading, still has semantic weight, and then you can use CSS to bump it up again. Remember, these are all remember the browser default styling is just there for people like Warren Buffett and his webpage. Yeah, so that was a perfect example actually. The Warren Buffett webpage is what can happen when you don't need CSS. All Warren Buffett needed was to, if you remember me saying like you don't need CSS and that's why we get rid of those browser styling. And that's a perfect example. Warren Buffett just needed to get his information out there. He wants to write a letter and get it out. He doesn't want to learn web design. His word is good enough. It doesn't have to look good. He's Warren Buffett. It can be written on the back of blue paper and people will pay to read it. So browsers provide default styling, so that someone like Warren Buffett can just write the HTML and not have to mess around with styling, because the whole importance of the web, the whole purpose of it is sharing information, connecting people, things, ideas, all of that kind of hippie stuff that we all love. Oh, sorry, Sarah, if you want to actually send that, send your code pen to, if you want to send your code pen to web.design@shawacademy.com, I won't be able to grab it out of the chat, unfortunately. But if you send it to web.design, the minute I close down the webinar, I'll lose it. So just to make sure that I do get it, okay? Perfect. All right, all right, all right. So guys, so what we are going to be doing next lesson, is we are going to build straight into Bootstrap. Now, why are we going to move into Bootstrap? Because we're talking about mobile first. Yeah, so Bootstrap. Bootstrap is built. So Bootstrap, the latest version, Bootstrap version 3, was built using mobile first. Built using mobile first designs. Do they even advertise that anymore? I don't even think they managed to. Ah, there we go. Do you see their phrasing? Do you see how they phrase that? Bootstrap easily and efficiently scales your websites and applications with a single code base from phones to tablets to desktops. The order of the way that they describe that is exactly the way we think about things in mobile first. So Bootstrap, everything is designed to this kind of concept. Bootstrap is great fun, and we're going to be going into it and actually building with it next class as well, and we're going to be seeing how it works. So Bootstrap, it has the whole thing around it. So we don't talk about desktop screens, we don't talk about tablets, we don't talk about mobiles, we talk about large screens, medium screens, small screens, and even just the way that their thought process, right down to how they phrase that there, is just key onto how good they are at what they do. Perfect. What about different mobile phone screen sizes? Are they working out? Are they working out the same with images that are certain width? Oh, I'm sorry, Milan. I didn't understand the image question. All right. There is no margin center. There is no margin center. There is only there is margin, and then you give it an actual value. So you have margin auto, which would be automatic margin, where it just tries to automatically calculate the margin, or else you give it an actual value in pixels or relative value in percentages or something like that, and that is the way margin will work. Oh, yep. Henrik asks, can Bootstrap be used with any of the CMSs out there? Yes, it can. It certainly can. And in fact, when we're using a CMS, we're most likely getting a theme from someone anyway, and far more likely than not, that theme will include will already include the Bootstrap framework in there. Tell you what a designer uses. Exactly. In fact, I'll do you one better. There. Who's asking that there? Tian. What you want is you want the built-with technology profiler. All right, the built-with technology profiler, guys. In fact, everyone out there should probably try to get that plugin there. The built-with technology profiler, and I'll show you exactly what that does. Let me try to find. Give me a website, guys. Give me a website that you've seen and you think and you want to know what it's been built with. I'll show you exactly how that plugin works. So anyone want me to test one out? Anyone want to have a particular website they'd like to know how it was built? Shaw Academy, perfect. Yeah, no problem at all. SHAWACADEMY, shawacademy.com. Here we go. So I'm going to click built with, and it's going to give me some. It's going to profile the website for me, so I can see we're using Apache servers with Nginx. Let's see what else is down here. Google Apps for Business. Yep, we use Google Apps for Business. That hosts our email. That hosts how we share our documents around here. We've got SPF, the Sender Policy Framework. All right, so that's our spam. That's part of our spam filter. Let's see what else. We're hosting with Amazon. Yes, so we use Amazon hosting here. We're using a PHP framework, so that's how all our website is built. That's what handles our login, authentication, everything like that. Just built with PHP. Let's see what else we got in here. We've got our advertising and our analytics grabbing everything for us. Analytics and tracking, again, all of that kind of stuff there. Let's see, JavaScript libraries and functions. We got jQuery easing, so we can see all the jQuery stuff that we're using as well, anything that we've been adding in. How we use our cookies. Let's see what else is in here. Let's see, Ajax. Yep, perfect. Any other websites you'd like me to check? Let's find something a little bit more interesting. Because we built, Shaw Academy is all built in-house, so it's all built from raw code. So there's not a lot of different technologies all being added together. But let's try this one here. Again, built with PHP, analytics, PWIC, web analytics, jQuery has been included. So very few resources there. No actual full-on tracking or anything like that taking out of it. We'll try Facebook, sure. Let's see if Facebook will give me something. I try and think who would be a big one. SPF. So there's a lot of technology. There's a lot of technology profiles inside Facebook there. That it's called built with. If you just type built with Chrome extension into your Google search bar there, BUILT Chrome. There you go, built with Chrome. And then it will be the first one there, built with Technology Profiler. Let me see if I can find something else. DISNEY, Disney. All right, let's see who Disney is built with. So here we have Disney. Let it load up. Let's take a look around here. That looks very bubbly. Let's take a look. Apache, web hosting providers, fine. They're built with Drupal. Ooh, so Disney is built with Drupal, the CMS Drupal. That's odd, because I swear that on WordPress they say that Disney is building with WordPress, but according to this, they're being built with the Drupal content management system. So I would highly recommend the built with plugin, especially when you come across an amazing website, by someone who's only been in the industry for, a few weeks, and then you see something and it's like, whoa, oh, they're so good. And then you take a look underneath it, and then you see that it's actually, a WordPress site with a built-in plugin, with a built-in theme that they haven't edited at all. So this is one of the great things about the built with technology profile. It kind of puts you down. It kind of, It kind of puts things into their proper perspective. Come on. Now it's going to keep sending me to disney.co.uk. There we go. How do I force it to go to Disney.com? How I would normally force it is I would just turn on my I would normally just turn on my VPN and head over to the States and go in that way. All right. Can I show you an online store? Of course. COOKIESS .showacademylive.com. So we're going to try and build this at some point as well. Let's see, hopefully this will load up. Hopefully it's still there. Yeah, here we go. Starting to load up. There we go. Sorry, I'm using my shared server. The Cookie Shake Shop. Yeah, so this is one of the sites that we'll try to build. Let me just zoom in. Am I at 100% there? I'm almost at 100%. Whoop, plus. There we go. There's 100%. Cookie Shake Shop. Yep. So here's a shop. You'll see that we got a store here. We go to our store, and we can go to the buy the office party pack, and we can add that to our cart. And there we go. Let's view our cart. So we can build this in 1 hour, guys. We can build this website in 1 hour. Once we just get a little bit of WordPress down, you can build e-commerce sites very, very quickly with WordPress. It's absolutely fantastic. But of course, if you want to scale up and own every step of the process, well, then you hire a PHP developer and you build alongside them. But yeah, but this is some of the things that, but you just have to work out your requirements. You know, if you're running a cookie shake shop, chances are you don't have, you know, the tens, if not hundreds of thousands of euro to hire out a developer to build your e-commerce store from the ground up. But you certainly have enough money to rent out a web designer like you guys or myself who could build it with WordPress and give them a way to make money straight away off their website. So it's perfect. Or you could do the web development course. Of course, you're all members here. You could do the web development course, and if you could be a savant, flying through all the authentication, everything like that. How do I do the header and footer? That's actually all just built into WordPress. Even this kind of it's called parallax. This parallax effect. We will do it soon enough. We might do it next week. We'll see. We might do it next week, and we'll see how quickly we get through the start of Bootstrap. Because really, what I want to do on this course, I want to touch on HTML. I want to touch on Bootstrap. I want to touch on WordPress, and then figure out which one we're going to really nail into. Yeah. So you know what? We will introduce WordPress next week, just so we can get so that no one is waiting around, for the big part of the course that they really want. So far we've covered the HTML, we've covered a bit of graphic design. We're about to do Bootstrap there on Friday. We won't go into Drupal. Drupal is really Drupal is more for the PHP developers. Drupal is more for a developer rather than a designer. All right. So if you're on Drupal, Drupal would be perfect if you're really going head on to PHP and web development. That is really the only real reason you would use Drupal, because otherwise it's just immensely complicated from a web designer point of view. Some modern websites do a video on loading on their front page. Do you have that site? Yes. Well, I've actually got a site that does that anyway. Let me see. Is this still up? Sailing.com. Yacht Zoe. This is one of mine. There you go. Catamaran Yacht Charter in the Caribbean. There you have. Video loader. Scroll down. Got everything there. Let's go sailing. Woo. Beautiful boat. Anyway, I have to get out here. It's going to make me sad. All right. Well, actually, Leanne, well, then you're in luck, because what I use WordPress for, what I actually use WordPress for, is WordPress is what I call my ghost developer. Yeah? Because I don't want to have to spend too much time messing around with PHP. If I want to log in and I want a cart, I want to focus on the images. I want to focus on how the products are displayed. I want to focus on all the HTML and all the CSS. I don't want to have to worry about what happens if the user types, you know, an email address into their phone number field. I want that to be handled by the developer. Now, I don't want to pay a developer because because it will cost a lot of money and that cuts into my profits. So what I would do is I would use something like WordPress to be my developer, because I already know what it can handle, and then because of that I can go in and I can edit everything I want. Yeah, so if you get so it's not WordPress.com we're working with WordPress.org. Yeah, so there's a big difference between these two. WordPress.org, and if you want to jump ahead, no bother, you can just jump in here, but leave. My computer is running ridiculously slow. There we go, WordPress.org. So this is where you get that. You download the files and you get the full access to everything. So if you thought WordPress might be restrictive in any sort of way, you download these files and you get to do anything you want. Yeah, you can rewrite the whole framework if you want. If you know PHP, you can use, because WordPress is it open source? I'm pretty sure it's open source. I can't remember which version of open source it is. I think it's persistent. I think it could be the OpenGNU that it's released under. I'll have to look into the license again. Yeah, GPL, open. Yeah, fully useful. So you can take the WordPress site CMS as is and sell it on. You know, if someone has never heard of WordPress before, you can actually sell them that package for whatever you want because of that license. It also means that they can then take exactly what you sold them and sell it on as well. But it gives you full access to the files and you can do whatever you want with it. So we're going to be learning how to do that as well. All right, guys. All right. So that was a quick introduction to how the mobile first works. WordPress is excellent for an online store. All right. So WordPress is absolutely fantastic for an online store. In fact, that is what we build first off in WordPress. We actually go into WordPress to build an online store, and that's the first website we build, just to show you how quickly and how useful it can be. But again, it all depends on what the development is needed for. All right. So we will be discussing all that in the WordPress class anyway. Next class is going to be on Bootstrap, mobile first, learning how to use Bootstrap to create a responsive grid and then work by its mobile first principles. But until then, just to get a little bit more experience with mobile first design, head over to the Phoenix Photography page. Grab that project and make it from a mobile first standpoint. As you can see, we've got a lot of CSS up here, adjusting the images, making the 23%, and then we got more CSS tags down there, trying to adjust the image when we get down to mobile. Well, you're going to design that as if your initial viewport was actually mobile screen, and then instead of shrinking the screen, you're actually going to be dragging it out and adding your media queries. So instead of max width, you're going to have min width, and you're going to be adding those. So just as we built this, making the screen smaller and adding our media queries, you're going to start small, drag it out larger, and then be adding your min width media queries. So perfect. All right, guys. Well, I think that's everything for today. If you do have anything else, please do send it over to web.design@shawacademy.com. Check out our Facebook group. We've got a little bit of a discussion going on here. Where are you? Yes. So where's our where are we? Advanced Web Design. If you want to jump into the Advanced Web Design group, and if you want to jump onto this thread here, where we're trying to solve the flexing, the centering conundrum, if you want to weigh in, it's quite irritating. It's not a simple question. Basically, in fact, I will just tie this off with you guys, because you are my advanced students, just before we go. The centering conundrum. So, I want to have all these images, nice and simple, body, text align, center, yeah? And you can see it doesn't matter how many images there, what size the images are, they're always going to appear center. And even when they fall down to the next page, they're going to be centered. Then if just one of them wants to fall down, or two of them wants to fall down, you see they're always going to appear center. Can you come up with an elegant solution that does not use text align center and works just the same? So when people resize the page, the images fall down, and it doesn't matter if there's odd numbers, if there's even numbers, they will always be centered aligned. See if you can come up with your own solution. So far, I can't do it. I just can't figure it out. Anyway, guys, I'll be seeing you on Thursday, and we'll do some Bootstrap. Until then, have a very good morning, a very good afternoon, a very good evening, and a very good night, everybody.